Hi all, hope you're okay. How are you getting on? What's your reality at the moment? What are you struggling with? What are you kind of coming to terms with? What are you trying to work out that you can do, can't do, all that kind of stuff? It's hard to know, isn't it? I don't know if a few years ago you watched or saw a film called The Matrix. I don't know if you've come across that. I encourage you to watch it. It's a really good film. Just as a film review, don't bother watching number 2 and 3. It will spoil your enjoyment of number 1. That's my experience anyway, for what it's worth. But it's a really interesting film about this guy called Neo. And there is a lot of kind of interesting kind of spiritual content to the film. I don't know if that's intentional by the director and producers and that stuff, but Neo means the one. And it depicts the Neo going through and trying to work out what is the real world, what is the real life, and what is this computer generated kind of world that he is in existence. And it's a coming together of these two worlds, trying to work out where things are, what is what's truth, what's reality, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you feel a bit like that over these last few months. What's reality, what's truth, what's going on, and trying to just work out that stuff in your own life. It might have even been true at other parts of your life, whether that's your health, your job, your mental well-being, your spirituality, your faith, whatever it may be. For all of us, we go through time periods where we're just trying to work out what is our reality, what is going on now, and how do we live in that moment. When we think about this for our faith, it is also a challenge, isn't it? It's a challenge to know, how do we live out what we believe when we see so much other stuff around us that sometimes distracts us, sometimes we actually really enjoy, sometimes it kind of makes us feel kind of bad about life and everything else in between. We're trying to work out what our reality is and how we deal with that and how we live that out for God. David, who wrote the Psalms, as we know, goes through periods of his life where he's trying to work out his reality. He's trying to work out and grapple with these big subjects of life. And often that spills out into the Psalms. Psalm 25 says, "O Lord, I give my life to you. I trust in you, my God. Do not let me be disgraced, or my enemies rejoice in my defeat." He goes on to say in verse 4 and 5, "Show me the right path, O Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long I put my hope in you." And I guess for some of us, maybe we do feel like we're just trying to survive. Maybe we're trying to work out our reality and we need some help with that. Maybe we just can't connect with some stuff. Maybe that's the stuff that we're doing as a church, or your neighbours, or your friends, or your family, and you just feel a bit lost. And I think David, through his life and through the Psalms, often comes to these honest places, doesn't he? And it spills out in his prayer. And what I think is really important that David reminds us, he says, show, point, teach, save. He's asking God for those things directly. He's asking God to do that work in him. He's asking God to reassure him about his reality, because he has full faith in who God is. He has full faith in his reality and his relationship with God. That will never change. God will never stop loving us. God will never stop teaching us. God will never stop saving us. God will never stop pointing us to the right path. It is down to us, isn't it, to open our eyes to that and be available and just see where God is at work in us. That is the reality we're searching for, that God will guide us. So wherever you find yourself at the moment, whatever your reality is, I just really encourage you to seek God's reality for your life, to seek those things that God is doing in you and God wants to do through you. We may, as a church, be restricted in what we can do, but in our worship, there is never and there will never be any restriction. That is our reality. That is the reality that God has given us, and we can be assured of in his faithfulness to us. That as we seek after him, he will guide us. As we look for the way to go, he will show us the paths to walk. And when we're in that midst of that darkest moment, he provides the salvation we need, the salvation that we can find in his Son, Jesus Christ, to be all that we can and to discover the reality of God's faithfulness to us. May God bless you in your reality, but may God bless you in the reality that God wants to restore in you.